So the tuning guide says you can use database replay to capture a workload. So we capture a real production workload on the production and replay on our test system with the exact timing, concurrency, transaction characteristics of the original workload. Keyword here is test system, because the replay is destructive. When we captured an update on the emp table, we replay an update on the emp table. So never run a replay on your production system. That will give you a lot of fun. It enables you to test the effect of a system change without affecting the production system. But for me, more important in having some nice bars at the end and telling me, oh, my replay finishes 2 minutes faster than my capture run has taken, which is nice to know. But I use it mainly for verifying if my application calls go through. It requires Enterprise Edition and real application testing on top, again, like SQL Performance Analyzer, but again, I can just repeat myself. You can use it in the cloud quite easily. 11.204 for a test, 11.204 database. Workload capture. Now, this needs to be a real workload. It needs to be a production workload, and it will write capture files. Now, I call this usually a feature which sails fantastically well on PowerPoint, but in the real world, it requires a little bit of extra. When we do this here, first of all, don't write your capture files into the same disk where your reader log sit. This is not a good idea. Even though the capture won't affect your system so heavily, we still assume something in the area of 3% extra pressure on the system. But don't write the capture files because you can get massive capture files. And the next thing is, when you are in the mood of trying that out, don't go too high for a start. Start with a maybe 1 hour capture run. That's fully enough. Remember and take into account, it's great to say, hey, let's capture a full week, or let's capture even just 24 hours. But that means you get a lot of files. And when you replay, you need to replay 24 hours. That means you kick off your replay on Tuesday morning and you won't see a result at best case before Wednesday morning. So you can even split it up later on into pieces. If you have the demand of saying, oh, we need a 24-hour capture, split it up in 2 or 4 pieces of 6 or 8 hours each. Makes your life much, much easier. And you don't have to wait a full day and night until you get a result. Now we have these files. We upgrade or migrate. And this is also important. It's platform independent. We copy our capture files over and we pre-process them. The pre-process may take a little bit, but it transfers now the files into something we can replay. So now we have replay files and we start workload replay clients. Now you may have no idea how many you need to start, but there's a procedure telling you, examine the replay files and telling you what the procedure or the package would recommend how many replay clients you should start. Then you start a replay client, and now it uses the replay files to really put pressure on your system. And as I said before, repeating myself again, this is destructive. We change data here. It's really executing statements. This is not a simulation anymore. And at the end, we get a replay report. We do now the analysis. So for the analysis here, we borrowed 2 screenshots from my dear pre-sales colleague in Germany, from Ulrike. And this is from a live customer project. So you see some overview and some basic replay information at the beginning, where we start here, 11.204 capture replay on 12.102, and some additional information, overall replay statistics. This is all nice. But very important, the replay divergence summary. This is the important part, because when I have no divergence, that means all my application calls go through. Let's have a closer look here into a second piece of the report. Here, almost on top, in the upper part, we have replay divergence. So you see, the report tells you it's a relatively high divergence. Almost 2% of the calls diverged. That means they either didn't go through or they lead to different results. Because what we do during the capture, we don't store the data. But when we capture a select star from emp and we get 14 rows, we don't store the 14 rows, but we make a marker that this statement issued at this exact time gave us a result of 14. And when we replay that, we compare this now to the capture. In the ideal case, we have zero divergence, and then you can go to the application team and tell them, look here, we have no divergence, no application changes are needed here. And this is what I like a lot with that feature and with this tool.